All right, so today I want to be able to speak to you all about the correlation between marriage and finances. All right, the correlation between marriage and finances. And if you still have some time, if you want to shoot this link out to someone, this can help possibly save their marriage, or it can help someone to gain the proper information that's needed to actually prevent a marriage. All right. Sometimes we get into these marriages and we feel like we're in love, but we're in lust. And some of these marriages, they have to come about by asking questions. And sometimes we're not doing those things. So I want to go ahead and get straight into the scriptures. And I want to leave some time open. So for at the end of this, for individuals to ask questions or if they have any comments and things of that nature. Just tell you a little bit about myself, the bio that you all read. I have owned and operated a couple of successful businesses, and alongside my helpmeet, Adia Joshua, she has been a part of the success. She's been the major part. For those that have missed the message that I shared maybe a week or two ago, or even those that was on the Wisdom Wednesday, I talked about valuing a wise woman. Having a wise woman by your side is a cheat code. And I talked about this cheat code because I did another video about millions of dollars worth of wisdom or millions of dollars worth of game that I've accumulated by interviewing some of the most prominent, successful business people in the country and some outside of the country. At my time as being a shoe shiner and various other occupations as well. I've been able to talk one-on-one to individuals, and some of those individuals, they gave the credit to their success by having a supportive spouse. All right, so that is the cheat code, and I know that I have one that's been supporting me these 17 years, and that has definitely made my life a little bit easier, a lot easier actually, by the way. So this is something that Leora is real passionate about. She wants individuals to come together. She wants two individuals to come together as one. And I'm very passionate about finances and wisdom. That's why we got the Wisdom and Wealth group, because we want to put together a group of people who love the Most High, but also don't feel like you have to be poor. And so many individuals within this belief system and certain belief system. I'm not going to say this belief system because we might have different peoples from different backgrounds, and I don't want to put people in a box. But for some people that I'm associated with, let me say that people that have melanin on their skin like me, so a nice portion of them have succumbed to a poverty mindset, just taking on the mindset that we have to be people that's under curses. We have to be individuals who have to be the first fire and last hired all the time. Yes, we understand in Deuteronomy chapter 28, it is those things are talking about a people. And some of us have identified with those curses. But at the same time, when you look at verses 1 through 14, he said, if you keep my commandments, I will set you on high. So I don't walk around every single day talking about I'm under curses. That was over years ago, long time ago, because I'm trying to do what I can to apply his instructions, the instruction manual that he's given all of us. And so I want to be able to share those things with you. Today, I put a nice amount of those in my book right here, called my second book, called Wisdom, the World's Greatest Hidden Treasure. I have a chapter in there about that's probably 20 pages long about financial wisdom. I got another chapter in there about business wisdom. So when you start talking about money, it excites people. Some of us we don't get that excited because we sit back and we look at our current circumstances. But hopefully today, something that will be able to be shared that you could take with you. And if you're single on the line, you can take these scriptures, you can take this practicality with you and help you to make a wiser decision as you are moving forward. If you are a woman on this line and you're single, all right, these are things that you're going to want to pay attention to if you're trying to get married. If you're married on the line, you already have made a covenant agreement. These are still things that you want to be on the guard of, because this can destroy your marriage. When you're talking about finances, some people in, Bible believers, they say, well, we don't need to talk about money. Well, the fact of the matter is, if money is not so important, then why it's up there as the number one cause of divorce? Now, some people will say adultery or money is one A or one B. All right, depending on the sources that you go to. So if money is the number one cause of divorce, and we're talking about two people coming together to be one, then I think it's something that's important. If the Messiah, whatever name you call the Messiah, if he spent more of his sermons and lectures talking about money and the kingdom of heaven more than anything else, I think it's important that we talk about this tonight. So we're going to get into the scriptures. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 10. Hope you write these scriptures down. Ecclesiastes chapter 10, and we're going to go to verse number 19. We're talking about the correlation tonight between marriage and finances. Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 19. A feast is made for laughter, and wine maketh merry, but money answereth all things. So we know that money doesn't answer all things. That's spiritual. All right, we can look at this word all in the Hebrew and get a different understanding, but it does help with a lot of things that we deal with. And so, no, I do not worship money. I worship the Most High. I worship the Most High who has the cattle on 1,000 hills. I worship the Most High who this earth is his footstool. That's who I worship. But he has allowed this to be here as a tool to help us navigate through this life. So yes, you can sit back and pray and fast and sing your little worship songs and do all these things and still be broke and still asking people to pray for your finances, going on different prayer calls saying, pray for this, pray for that. All right. Or you can sit back and utilize what the Most High has given you. He's given you his instruction manual, and it's time for the believers to start putting it in place. That's why when we go to the scriptures, in the Messiah, he said the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. So we see right here in Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 19, it says that money answers all things. When you go to Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 14, you got people that would tell you, brother, you don't need to be reading any more books. Brother, you just need to stay with this Bible. And I get it. Listen, the Bible is the greatest book that I've come across up to date on my journey on this earth plane. But there are other books that have taken, extrapolated things from the Bible, taken a thought, or taking a concept and making a whole book out of it and going into further explanation in greater detail better than the Bible. Yes, I said better than the Bible because it gives you way more, outlooks, way more insights, way more examples, testimonials, all right, real life experiences that people put in their books, and it goes beyond just that one scripture. So let's go to Proverbs 15 and 14. Proverbs 15 and verse 14, it says, the heart of him that have understanding seeks knowledge, but the mouth of fools feeds on destruction. So listen here, we don't want to be one of these individuals that are foolish. The scripture tells us that the heart of him, the mind, the heart of him that has understanding seeks knowledge. We as individuals that are single, we are individuals that are married already, we have to seek the knowledge about finances. So what I decided to do, I decided to seek the knowledge. Behind me, you see one of my bookshelves. These books right here are financial books. These books right here have to deal with personal development and self-improvement. These are books in these topics that we have to work on. So because of some of these individuals, I'll never be able to get a chance to spend with them because they've moved on and passed on and they're dead. I get to read the information that they put behind. So number one, don't let no one in this walk or whatever your friends, family members, or spiritual believers, do not let someone deter you from reading business books or reading financial books and saying, well, brother, you just need to read the Bible only. Read. The scriptures say the heart of him that have understanding seeks knowledge. Because so that's why I had to, separate myself from individuals who have a poverty mindset, because little do you know, and I'm going to use this term, don't take it out of context, all right? Because some people think it sounds new agey, but the scripture it's a law of associations. And it's a real thing. That's why it says in the Bible, when it says, make no friendship with an angry man, lest thou be like unto him. It said, he that has fellowship with a proud man will be like unto him. It said, the beast loveth his kind, and every man his neighbor. All flesh can sort unto his kind, and a man will cleave unto his like. This is the law of associations in the Bible. So the people who you spend the most time associated with, talking to, you will be like unto them. Don't deceive yourself and think that you could just be around all these different people and it's not going to affect you. So that I'd rather be by myself than to be around a group of people or a whole bunch of people that feel like we just supposed to wake up every day and be cursed. Or we're supposed to wake up every day and be struggling. Or all the marriages among us, we talk about two becoming one, all the marriages are supposed to be struggling. Listen, I want my wife and I to be an example of a marriage that's not just surviving, but thriving. And I want each and every one of you that's on this Zoom right now. I want you all to have thriving marriages. I don't want you all just to be getting by year after year. I want you all to take trips out of the country like I'm doing with my family. I want you all to be doing the same thing with your wives and your husbands, getting out of here, expanding your mental. What it says in the book of the book of Sirach, it said a man that travels knows many things. All right, so but we have to get the finances together to be able to go on trips. All right, this is where we at right now. We at a starting point. So the heart of him have understanding seeks knowledge. We go to Genesis chapter 2, verse 24. I know this is like a theme scripture for the two become one. I believe it is. I know you all have went over this scripture so many times, but I'm gonna read it again. And please do not take my passion for pride. Do not take my passion for pride. I'm very excited when it comes down to this topic. All right. Genesis chapter 2, verse 24. Therefore, yes, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and the two shall be one flesh. The two shall be one flesh. I don't know if that's the theme scripture of this group, but when two become one, Genesis 2 and 24, this cause shall a man leave his father and his mother and cleave unto his wife. So now, individuals, we come together as one. Two individuals that come together as one, but they two individuals. We have to learn to unlearn to relearn different activities, different mind states, different beliefs. All right, appreciate that. So now let's go to Proverbs chapter 24. We're gonna lead up to the two. So all right, but get the mindset together that you are making a covenant with someone. You, whoever this person is, because what we like to do is, oh, this person looks so good. Man, her breasts looking good, her thighs, man, she got the shapely body, her face looking good. The women over there, man, he got all these muscles. But it's a lot more to that. Yes, you want to spend your life with this person in lust. Yes, you want this person to have sexual, activity with you and things of that nature. But what about when the sex is over with? What do you have to talk about? What do you have to speak about? Are your goals congruent? Are you on one accord with the finances in your household? Does one person believe that you could spend everything that you make and the other person feel like you need to save? Let's continue. Proverbs 24. This is wisdom for a man right here. All right. Or in this society, we know that it's a lot different. I'm not even gonna say a little bit different than ancient times. It's a lot different because back then in the society that we talk about keeping the culture and all that, it's totally different than that now because women are working today. And back then, a woman, their stability came only from her husband, through the Most High, through her husband. That's why if a woman lost her husband in battle, she oftentimes became another man's wife. It wasn't necessarily because he just wanted to do it, but someone had to provide for this woman because she just lost her husband. So we're not following everything to the culture. Women now are out working. Women, in some cases, are making more money than the men in some cases. So some of these women, I'm not saying those of you on this line, but you got to go back to the 70s. You got to go back to the 80s when the feminist movement was pushed and they was talking about how, who wears the pants. And that's when this movement of women putting on pants came into existence in the 70s. And they talking about you can earn as much more money than him and you're more valuable than the man. So now a woman went from trusting in a household that was set up in the ancient times as the man was the breadwinner, the woman stayed home and took care of the children, to being a person that now I can make as much money than the man or even more than the man. So these mind states got to get put together. So Proverbs chapter 24, verse 27, of course, when King Solomon was writing this, of course, I believe it was strictly only talking to the man, But when you're looking at this from the standpoint of a single woman, you might be able to say that this can relate to you as well. So let's go to Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 27. It said, prepare thy work without, and make it fit for thyself in the field, and afterwards build thy house. So it says, prepare thy work outside. Get your stuff together while you're by yourself. Listen, while you are before you get married, you're trying to enter into a courtship agreement and things of that nature. You still are considered by yourself. It's time to work on yourself before you try to bring some extra baggage into this marriage. We're going to talk about this as well. Just hold with me. So go to Matthew chapter 18. Matthew chapter 18 and verse 20. Of course, I don't have to read the whole scripture, but you all, for those of you Bible believers, you already know about this. The scripture says in Matthew chapter 18 and verse 20, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I shall be in the midst. So now this is where we're going to start this thing out. Because if you are in a courtship, now hopefully this can be hit from the single side and the marital side. If you are a single woman on this live tonight, if you are a single man on this live tonight, I need you to pay attention to this. You, the one number, we talked about money answer all things. We talked about all these other scriptures leading up to where I'm about to get to. But this is going to be paramount in your relationship, is that you are going to have to go together with that person who you want to enter into a covenant with. And you need to invite the Most High into your finances. You need to start your courtship out with prayer, seeking the Most High. Because a lot of us, we are our parents, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but the truth is the truth. They failed us. All right. They didn't teach us financial literacy. So us as being this group of people that are, wiping the crust out of our eyes, and we are awakening to a lot of things, not just a heritage or a nationality, we're awakening to becoming financially literate again. That knowledge that's been instilled in us through certain institutions. Servants, obey your masters. Just be poor. Wait until the afterlife. You will receive great riches in the afterlife. It has allowed us to succumb to this mindset that, listen, we just need to be poor in this life, and we're going to receive great riches. But guess what? Everyone on this life, you don't know if you're going to be able to see those great riches in the next life. I pray that everyone does on here. I really do. But I personally, all right, and I pray that he looks at me at the end of all this is over with, and he said, well done, thy good and faithful servant. But listen, I want to live and experience the best of life right now and on the other side as well. So if you are a man or a woman, it says in Proverbs 24:27, prepare thy works and make it fit for the field, and then afterwards come build your house. We'll correlate that to Genesis chapter 2 and verse 24. For this cause shall a man leave his father and his mother to cleave unto his wife. If you are a single person today and your father and your mother are still living, if you are a young single person and you have not already jumped out on the deep end and got you an apartment or signed up for a mortgage, if you still have the opportunity to still be able to live with your father and your mother, this is a good place to be at. This is the place where you can go and stack your money up. If your parents are still alive and you're still able to do this in the right circumstances, I know you want to be grown. I know you want to have your own spot and everything, but you can go back to those places and you can stack your bread up, because the scripture said, for this cause shall a man leave his father and his mother. It's supposed to be to go prepare a place. What did the Messiah say? He said, behold, I go to prepare a place for you. So that's the same model that a man should be. It should be that I'm leaving my father and mother's house just so I can go buy a place so I can bring women over to. No, a person should be leaving their father and their mother to go and prepare a place for their spouse, for their wife. That's what a person is supposed to be doing. All right. And a woman, it shouldn't be that I'm going to buy my own apartment just so I can get away. Now, if you got an abusive situation, your father and mother are hitting on you, yes, I don't recommend you that you stay at that house. I don't recommend that you stay there. But it shouldn't be that you just talk about, I'm 18, I'm 21 years old, I'm grown now. All right. I got a 22-year-old at the house, and I still see teenage ways. Even though he's a young man, I still see teenage ways. When I was 20, I thought I was grown. I was 20 years old and I thought I was grown. 2 years out of high school thinking I'm grown. Listen, we have to understand this, that at the end of the day, we are some mature children. Let's just go and be honest with you. So let's take this in mind as I'm sharing these scriptures with you today. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother to cleave unto his wife. For this cause shall a man leave his father and his mother to prepare a place, to make it fit in the field. So then he can be able to, when he got his rib, when he got his wife, he can be able to bring her in. What did the Messiah say? I go and prepare a place for you. We're following that model. All right. So now, one of the key factors in courtship or in marriage, all right, this applies to both sides of the spectrum, is that we got to be honest on where we at. This applies to marital finances. This applies to weight loss, and it can apply to any other thing that we may be struggling with or dealing with. We got to identify where are we at. Now, identifying where you at, you don't need a second party to do that. You do not need a husband to sit back and identify where you at. You could do that by yourself. All you have to do is grab a blank sheet of paper and write down. If you're not satisfied with where you've been at right now in life, if you're not satisfied with where you at, write down on a piece of paper, what got me here? What got me here? Write it down. I'm asking you to do it right now. Right at the top of the sheet of paper. If you're taking notes on what I'm sharing, you're not just listening to me. Right, grab a blank sheet of paper and write down what got me here. All right. Of course, I want you to continue to listen to me as I'm sharing descriptions. But after this lesson is over with, I want you to go back to that piece of paper. I want you to go back and look at that title or the topic of that page. What got me here? And I want you to write down everything that got you to where you at financially. And if you are not pleased with the things that you wrote on paper, you do the exact opposites, and you will have success. But let's continue though. So we talked about this. This is identifying where you at. So for those of us that are old school, those that's in the old school, before we had GPS, some of us, let's go back. Before we had, the GPS, we had MapQuest. Some of us was traveling in the early 2000s. We was to get to where we need to go. We would go to the computer at the early stages, and we would type in this city, type in this state where we're going, and we would get the directions little by little, and we would ride in the car with those directions with us. We had to have a roadmap. Some of us, you go back before the 2000s, you go back to our parents, they went to the gas station and they got a map of the country. And they used that as their roadmap to get them to their destination. Listen, you have a destination. You should make one for you and your household. What are the goals that you want to have with your husband? What are the goals that you want to have with your wife? All right, I got one life to live, and it ain't just to be stuck in Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee. That ain't what my life entails. All right, I want to see as much of this world as possible, and my wife, I want her to be going along with me. The one that supports me and that's born my children, I want her to see as much of this world, the beauty of the Most High. Maybe you okay being in your city, all right? Maybe you just okay with staying in your state. That's okay, all right? If that's you, that's okay. I don't want to make you feel bad by that. I'm just saying me and my house. We want to travel abroad. We have a bigger visit, all right? Identify where you are. This sometimes can be a challenging thing to do. This identifying where you are financially sometimes can make you want to start crying. Yes, it can make you cry when you sit back and think about how the fact that through your lifetime you come across tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars, but you don't have nothing to show for it right now. That can make a person want to cry right there. That can make a person's heart be filled with regrets. But guess what? I'm asking you to do it anyway. I'm asking you to sit back and be real with yourself tonight. I'm asking you, as you are getting ready to go on a courtship, as you are getting ready to want to become married, all right, I want you to be the best version of yourself before you enter into this marriage. And it's not just you just singing songs and fasting and praying. I want you to deal with the practical side of things too. This is everyday life. This is why I love the four main wisdom books: Proverbs, Wisdom of Solomon, Ecclesiastes, Ecclesiastes, because they deal with everyday life situations. Some of us are so spiritual. Well, they say in the church, you're so spiritual, you know earthly good. Some of us are no earthly good out here. We spiritualizing everything, and we're not using the practical things that the Most High put right in front of us every single day, which is His instructions. Yes, we talk about the instructions in the first 5 books, but when you come over here to the Torah of wisdom, the law of thy mother, she has some instructions as well. The spirit of wisdom has some instructions. And when you follow those instructions, it gives length of days, long life, peace, innumerable riches, long lasting friendships, and a host of other things that come along with following wisdom's principles. All right. So identify where you are. Where are you trying to go? Where are you trying to go? I can be sitting over here and I can just say, you know what, my wife's trying to give me instructions. She got the GPS on. I said, you know what, I'm about to just start driving. And she said, well, I don't actually know if we're going the right way, Yosef. I said, but we're making good progress. We're going real fast. We're going real fast in the wrong direction. Some of you all are going fast in the wrong direction. And hopefully tonight you can get steered back to the right course, steer back to the right place before you enter into a marriage covenant. If you're already in one, it's too late. All right. It's about making adjustments. But I think that this is mainly talk about these two becoming one. That makes me think about single people. This makes me think about people that's trying to get married. All right, that's cool. If you're already married, this stuff still applies to you. You've got some of you that are already married. You don't have a track to run on. You don't have a destination. You're just making money. You're spending it. You're paying bills. You wonder why you broke every day. All right. Identify where you're at. You can't hit a target that you don't have. You cannot hit a target if you don't have one. You have to make a target for yourself. You got to be very intentional. This is a book right here behind me. All right. This is called Achieving Your Financial Potential. This book right here is gold. All right. Achieving Your Financial Potential is by a Christian author named Scott K. CFP. All right. I got so many other books. Listen, invest in yourself so that you can gain the knowledge to be financially literate, you and your spouse. All right. I got another book right here. My wife and I was going to read about someone that came to our conference at the Wisdom and Wealth Conference last year. A husband and wife duo that does real estate, mom and pop's ways of dealing with finances. It talks about some things in there that's real important. All right. I may be able to share that later on. So now, this is what we got to pay attention to. Go to Ecclesiasticus. Those of you that had this book right here, the Apocrypha, all right, I want you to go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 42. This is key. We got to be real with this. When it comes down to this finances, we have to make some decisions that might be very hard to deal with. All right. Ecclesiasticus chapter 42 and verse number 7. It says, deliver all things in numbers and weight, and put all in writing that thou givest out or receive it in. All right. Let's put the feelings to the side. Let's put the looks to the side. Man, baby, you look good. All right, you could be sitting there telling him, you're so handsome, you're so strong. Let's put all that to the side right now. All right. When you're trying to identify where you are, you need to sit down and write down all the things that you're giving out and taking in. That's the wisdom from Ecclesiasticus 42 and verse 7. All right. This is wisdom right here. Write everything down. What is the expenses that's coming in? How much money are you bringing in every month? Some of you don't even know how much money you're bringing in. And you talk about you want to be in a marriage? Are you serious? Are you really serious? And you don't even know how much money you bring to the table, or you know what you bring to the table, and because it might not be what you wanted. It's so easy to track. Listen, if it's not easy to be tracked, you need to be writing it down. And even if you know what you bring to the table, you still need to write it down on paper. That makes it real. Just like a person that has a vision, so just like a person that has a goal. All right, it's not going to become real if it's just in your brain. You have to write the vision. What it says in the book of Habakkuk, write the vision, make it plain upon the tables, that he may run that read it. For the vision is for an appointed time. Though it may come, it will not tarry. Or you have to write the vision down that it may give you a track to run on. Right? What are the expenses for my household? How much money am I bringing in? Yes, I can be honest with you. At the beginning of our marriage, I came into this blindly. I just know that, man, there was this girl from Louisville, Kentucky that looked very good to me, and she knew how to pray, and man, she made me feel good when I was around her, and I wanted this woman to be my wife. We didn't sit down and talk about this. So yes, we've gained the marital experience. We've gained this wisdom through trial and error, and we're trying to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes. We got counseling one time, this This person gave us counsel one time, and we thought that there may have been an ongoing thing. Write this down. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 5. Write it down if you can. Write these scriptures down. Counsel in the heart of a man is like deep waters, and a man or a woman will draw it out. It's going to be up to you to draw out the counsel. It's going to be up to you to seek, to follow the principles that the Messiah put in place. Ask and it shall be given unto you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and doors shall be opened unto you. You have to seek out help for yourself and for your spouse. Find someone that you can counsel with. All right, now we're talking about identifying where you are. This leads to Ecclesiastes chapter 42:7. It leads to a word which most of us do not like to hear. It's called a budget. It's called a budget. I'm gonna be honest with you. Up until just a few years ago, I hated that word budget because budget actually sounded like bondage to me. You mean to tell me that I gotta have a budget for my life? Well, one person came up with this definition of a budget. A budget is telling your money where you want it to go instead of wondering where it went. Let me say that one more time for the people in the back row. A budget is telling your money where you want it to go instead of wondering where it went. How many of us on this live? I'm not even gonna ask y'all to throw y'all hands up. If y'all want to throw y'all hands up, y'all can. How many of us on this live at the end of the month was wondering where our money went? It's because we did not have a budget. One hand went up. Leora was like, "That was me." Okay, I've been there. I'm not gonna call y'all some liars, but all of our hands probably at one point or another. All right, we've been to a situation where at the end of the month we didn't know where the money went to. It's because we did not have a detailed plan. I see some more hands going up now. We got some real people saying, "Oh yeah, that was me. I didn't know where my money was at." So now you have to create a budget. That budget is, according to Ecclesiastes 42:7, is to write down everything that you give out. Write down all of your credit. This is another way that you can get out of debt too. It's called a snowball effect. For those that's in debt, all right, I got a video on that. This is to be able to help you get out of debt. The same thing applies. You have to write down everything. Now, this could be before you meet with your partner, though. What I'm telling you is, I'm trying to tell you sisters on this live today, you want to work on yourself. Outside of being abstinent and celibate and preparing yourself, I hope you're not opening them legs up to nobody. You're trying to be, courting and all that. That you abstaining for sexual activities. You're working on yourself with your intimate relationship with the Most High. All right, but you're getting financially astute. You're becoming aware of mistakes that you made in the past, and you don't want to keep making those mistakes over again because, according to wisdom, that's a fool. That's a foolish person. So we're trying to help you gain wisdom. So now, all right, create a budget for yourself. Write down every single bill that you got to pay every month. And then, according to you, if you're not a business owner, it's a little easier to know how much money you're bringing in. If you have a job, you work the same amount of hours every week, you make the same amount of money per hour. It's easier to be able to dictate your life from that. I'm an entrepreneur. All right, so my stuff is volatile. My income is up and down, up and down. It takes a special type of woman to have to be with me. All right, because my marriage has been like a roller coaster, up and down, finances. Because I've been the person where it's been hard for me to have a boss tell me what to do. But everybody's not a financial, everybody's not into the world of entrepreneurship. And now our money now has been more stable. The Most High has given me a stable opportunity, so my wife don't have to worry about being on a roller coaster. But some of these marriages are we're very volatile, like the stock market. We're going up and down, like the roller coaster. So in order to create some stability, because you women on the live, I see mainly women on here tonight. Women are creatures of emotion, and women, they want stability. Unless you are an entrepreneur woman and you're used to all the ups and downs that comes with running your own business, you want safety and security. That is just, if I was to ask all the women to put 100 in the chat, women want stability. They want to know how everything is going to be taken care of, and it helps them to be a better help meet when they know that things are going to be taken care of. So what are the expenses? What are the income? Create a budget. A budget creates boundaries. Boundaries protect you. So now this is protecting you from becoming financially unhealthy. Sitting back there going to the church on Sunday or going to the congregation on the Sabbath day with everyone you go to. You sitting there saying, pray for my finances. I heard a person say that you could do the right thing with 10% of your money and do the wrong thing with 90% of your money, and you will be a broke tither. For those of you that pay tithe, those of you that paid tithes in the past, you paid your tithes and you was broke by Tuesday morning. Because the 90% of the money you was doing the wrong things with, but you was expecting the Most High to bless you by giving 10% of your money, but you did wrong with the other 90%. Create a budget, boundaries, walls. What happens when a city, the master builders, the carpenters, the masons, they build these walls. They build these walls to protect a city. It creates boundaries for intruders, so people cannot just come in and intrude and take the land. So these boundaries are put up for a reason. You have to create boundaries for yourself. You have to create financial boundaries for you and your household, whether you're single or a person that's about to come together in a covenant agreement. There need to be boundaries, all right? And these things need to be talked about. Not just the fact that I want to make you my wife. Let's go ahead. So now we're going to talk about some of these things. We talked about identifying where you are first, right? You could do that by yourself. You don't need a woman or a man to identify. You can sit down in the mirror and identify why you're in the situation that you're in by yourself. But now, because this is when the two becomes one ministry, because we got Genesis chapter 2, verse 24, that for this cause shall a man leave his father and his mother and cleave unto his wife, and the two shall become one. And because we go to Proverbs chapter 24 and 27, prepare thy work it outside and make it fit for the field. And after you come and build that house up, two becoming one, the person ain't supposed to be leaving until they go in a prepared place. We got that out the way already. So now we talked about identifying things where you at as a single individual. Now we're going to talk about bringing this other party into it now. Now you got this other party in. And what happens with this? Now this is communication. Now we got communication now. This right here at the beginning stages of our marriage was one of the most detrimental things because my wife and I wasn't communicating that good. At the early stages, this was a woman that I married that she was already working. This was a woman that was already independent. She was already have her own house. She had a mortgage payment. She was already working 2 jobs already. So now she's marrying this man from out of state, and I'm coming into an equation in the early stages, and she is having to trust me to make decisions. And guess what? I was volatile with jobs, in and out of jobs at the beginning. First 2 years. All right. Working a job for a couple weeks, working a job for a couple months. And so now we didn't properly communicate on where we was trying to go financially. And she trusted me to make decisions. And my decision was, all right, listen, we might have to be a little bit behind on these bills because I got to go out here to this conference. I got to be around these people that's making $50,000, $20,000 a month because I'm trying to get to that level. And next thing you know, we're struggling. So now it created trust issues. This is what can happen early on in your marriage. This is what can happen to you if you don't communicate with your person who you're trying to come into a covenant with. Communication can cause trust issues. And you don't want to be in a marriage where when you're looking across the bed and y'all laying in the bed next night and you looking next to this person saying, I don't really trust this person. Who wants to be in a covenant with a person that they can't trust? So communication has to take place. Listen, like I told you, you women out there, you got to look beyond how handsome this brother look. You got to look beyond how strong this brother look. You got to start asking some questions. You men out here, you got to start looking beyond. Now they looking at BBLs. Now they looking at a woman's behind, like these fake behinds out here. Now I don't think nobody on this live right here on this Zoom meeting got a fake behind. But these men out here, they looking at the breasts and the thighs and the face and the bone structure. And they're not asking these questions. So you women and you men, you have to ask questions. You have to communicate. So what's the communication look like? My brother, I know you want to marry me and all, but how much debt are you in right now? You sisters, you got to ask these brothers that. Instead of going across being like the book of Timothy said, these type of men, they creep into houses, leading aside silly women laden with sin. You don't want to be a silly woman. You want to be a wise woman. So guess what? You got to start asking questions. Communications. A lot of times when my wife and I got into arguments early on in our marriage, it was because of assumptions. Assumptions. They make a, you know what? Assumption starts with ASS. You make that out of yourself when you assume things. Communicate effectively. Listen, I know you want to marry me and all, but what kind of debt are you in right now? You women, you have to understand, overstand, understand, whatever stand you want to put right there, you have to make it up in your mind. Do you want to absorb someone's debt? Do you want to take on a $60,000 or $70,000 debt from a man? And you brothers that's single, you got to sit back and be real with yourself, man. This woman bad, she cold, she look good. Now she got her head wrapped. I think I want to take her, she be my wife and all that. But do I want to take on a $70,000 student loan debt from this woman? Because debt is like financial quicksand. All right. It can cause a lot of stress. It can cause a lot of heartaches if you're in debt. Now listen, if you all communicate these things, you communicate and you say, listen, this is where I'm at. You know, hey, you can take it or leave it. We don't have to continue with this courtship thing at all. I'm telling you right now, this is where I'm at. I'm 35 in the hole right now. I'm 35 in the hole right now. And when I got married to my wife, I was about $30,000 in debt. She had a small little debt. We paid that off quick. And I paid, and I followed these principles from these financial people who I listen to, and I paid off my debt. I paid off my student loan debt. All right. She was with me when I got $75,000 in debt in my car business. And when I was using OPM, other people's money, I paid that back too. All right. But that was, she was okay. But guess what? One of the reasons why my wife is okay with it, because she didn't ask me no questions about it. I'm trying to give you the wisdom to ask first. Hallelujah. She didn't ask me. All right. She didn't ask me, but I still paid it off. But guess what? That might be a deal breaker to you. You ask somebody, listen, you $57,000 in debt, and you only making $30,000 a year. How you gonna pay that off? If you're trying to go into a marriage, if you got a car payment that you're dealing with, are you trying to live in Section 8 housing, or are you trying to buy you a house? Now you got a house payment. These are things that you got to write down in your budget. Ask the hard questions. Listen, not just about marital. You got to ask hard questions about sexuality. It's some questions that you got to ask that some of you all don't want to ask because you don't want to know the answer. Some of you all don't want to ask these questions because you feel like it could mess up what I have right now. This person, I've been single for so long. I finally got somebody that's showing an interest in me. I finally got somebody that want to make me their wife. I don't want to mess this up. I ain't even about to ask no questions. I'm gonna go ahead and ask somebody to counsel me. I'm gonna go ahead and try to go ahead and make this private or this secret covenant myself. You better start asking some questions, or I can come back to haunt you at a later time. So ask questions about how much debt are you in right now. Ask them what's your credit score right now. Yes, I know in ancient times they didn't have a credit score. It was, we shook on the thing, we struck hands. That is my word, is my bond. Even up to the 1900s, your word was your bond. I'm gonna pay you on Friday. We ain't got to run no credit score. But in today's time, you got a credit score now. Every one of us on this Zoom meeting got a credit score. So you might want to ask that person that you want to get into a covenant relationship with, what's your score looking like right now? If that person has a 450 or a 500 credit score, that may not necessarily be a deal breaker. You might be somewhere in the 500 yourself. Y'all might be able to say, listen, we in this thing together. But what if you had a 750 and they had a 450? And they have a history of not paying stuff on time. That right there may be a red flag for your marriage. That might be giving you a sign that, listen, I don't know if I want to be in company with this person, because this person might take the money and go gambling somewhere. This person might be taking the money and going buying things that's not taking care of our household. Ask the hard questions, all right? You got to be willing to ask these hard questions. Let's continue. So now we talk about, this is something else that you want to pay attention to. I talked about the situations with my wife, all right? She was used to making her own money. I was used to buying whatever I wanted. So when we came into this marriage, we had two different outlooks on how money should be saved. She had a degree in business management. She dealt with accounting. She dealt with money. She worked at a bank. All right, she was around money. She was more financially literate than me. I knew how to make money. I've been in sales. I done sell legal and illegal substances, whatever. I've been making money, but I didn't know how to manage it. I had the mindset. I had the mindset that listen, I can spend the money. It's gonna come back tomorrow. But is that the mindset you want to bring into your marriage? The money that grows on trees mindset. When you have another person over here saying, we need to be wise with this. I would try to go buy my wife some shoes and she'd be thinking about the children. Listen, you better go buy yourself some shoes. She will go with wearing the same things over and over again to make sure that everybody in the household is good. That's the type of woman I have. Everyone don't have that woman. Everyone don't have a woman that's willing to put everybody else before them. You got women out here that want Coach bags, they want purses, they want you to go buy and keep up with the Joneses. And you know, you brothers on the line, do you want that type of woman? You sisters on the line, do you want a man that as soon as he gets money, it's like it burns a hole in the pocket? He can't sit back and save none of it. You want an ROI on your marital investment. You want a return on it. Listen, divorces is one of the most expensive things a situation that you could ever go through in life. Now, if you two broke people divorcing each other, it ain't gonna cost you that much. It will cost you some emotional distress. It's gonna cost you some stuff like that. But when it comes down to finances, a divorce can wipe you out. It can take away, if you're a man, it can take away half of what you got. You better be you better start asking some questions. And more important, you want to see if this person fears the Most High Yah. If he fears the Most High, I don't know if y'all use the name Yah on this platform or not, but you got to make sure that these people fear the Most High. Divorce is a money grab. So another thing that we have to practice in our marriages, this is what we talked about in budget earlier, but you have to understand, you have to be willing to count the cost. Let's go to Luke. Let's go to the book of Luke for a second. All right, Luke chapter 14 and verse 28. Let's go there. I like to let the scripture speak. Sometimes I get a little passionate and start going. All right. Luke chapter 14 and verse 28. For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he has sufficient enough to finish it? Which of you going to hop into a marriage and without counting the cost of it? Which are you? I did it because I was 20-something years old when I did it. All right, I'm in my 40s now, but I was 20-something years old, and I just know that this woman right here, I want this woman. But I didn't count the cost. I didn't count the cost on everything that we was about to have to go through, and she didn't count the cost neither. If she would have counted the cost, she probably would have been like, I don't know if we can. Matter, one night she did say that, I don't know if we can do this. And it wasn't because of the financial stuff, the strain. It was the fact that I was just too hood. When I first married my wife, I was hood. Like I had gold teeth in my mouth. I was saggy, baggy clothes. I was all that. One night I pulled up down here in Louisville, and she was like, I don't know if we can keep doing this. But she was honest. Are you going to be honest with the person who you want to come into covenant with? Are you going to be honest and say, I don't know if we can do this if you don't have a plan for our marriage? If you don't have a plan for us, I don't know if we can keep going on like this. Before you do the covenant, before you have sex. Yes, I know people out here talking about sex is marriage and all that. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that to another conversation. But before you have witnesses, before you get permission from a father, before you get a dowry, before you have a gathering of people, before you consummate with sexual activities, you need to be asking questions. And you need to be trying to sit back and figure out if you need to count the cost of this man that you want to get into a covenant with. Oh, he looks so good. Oh man, he looks so strong. And when he put them fringes on and he got that tight shirt that he got on, I can see his chest through there. Listen, I'm telling you, all that stuff can lead you to divorce court in 6 months down the road. If you are not counting the cost, you brothers out here, make sure that you count the cost with these sisters. Do you really want to be with her? Listen, I got to be honest with you. Some brothers out here, you got to be asking your question, count the cost. Do I want to be in a situation where I want to be taking on another man's child? You got to be real with yourself in that situation. This is counting the cost. I don't want to hurt nor offend none of you sisters out there tonight, but guess what? That's a part of counting the cost. You sisters out there, you got to be looking at these brothers over here that got multiple children, and you got to be thinking, do I want to blend what I have with that? And whether you don't have no children or whether you have children, do I want to blend my children with this man's children? This is a part of counting the cost. spiritually and financially. Let's continue. So we're talking about counting the cost. Now, what another thing that we got to take into consideration as we talk about two becoming one, two people brains, two people spending habits coming together as one. You have to understand this. Some of you all don't get this, but I'm telling you all tonight is that the man is the leader of the household. Hope y'all women don't log out of here when I say that. The man is the leader. All right. We see that in Genesis chapter 3. Your desire should be to your husband. But guess what? Both of you all, the two of you all, whether you're in a courtship agreement or if you're about to, or if you're already married, you are supposed to communicate with one another about the finances, run it all off each other, and the man makes the final decision. But in this feminized, effeminized society, with the during the feminist movement in the 70s, and the women are making more money than the men. Now they're the men. When you ask them a question, I gotta run it past her. She's the one that wears the pants. The man. You gotta be women. You gotta be on. You gotta be on this live tonight. You gotta be honest. You gotta understand. Okay, is this man? Do I want to be in this covenant with? Do he look like a man that's astute enough to lead me in the financial way? Does he look like he's astute enough to lead me and being a priest of the home and a man of the Most High? And do this person got habits? This person got addictions? Because guess what? These habits and addictions, they are in direct correlation with the way you spend your money. Listen, if I came by to visit everyone that's on the Zoom tonight, you don't have to tell me what you believe. I just want to see your bank balance at the end of the month. I just need to, if you show me your bank balance, I know what you believe. More than what you say, more than what you get on these lives and these calls and talk about how you love the Most High. Show me your bank balance. What do I mean by that? When I can get a detailed synopsis of how you spending your money, that shows me what you believe in. How much of that money are you putting towards alms? How much of that money are you putting towards savings? How much of that money are you spending towards vain things? Listen here, just like people that deal with weight issues, they have a thing called emotional eating. There are people that have emotional spending. They are unsatiable in their spirit. They can never be satisfied. These things, they happen when you are not all the way connected to the power source of the Most High. Emotional spending. This is another thing that comes with spending. You got to be careful. You have to have conversations with this person who you want to spend the rest of your life with. You need to pick their brain. And you can't get it by them just being quiet. What it says in the book of Ecclesiastes, the book of Sirach, it said, praise no man before you hear him speak. But this is the trial of a man. You're not going to be able to know what's in a person's heart until you make them start talking. Don't you be the one doing all the talking. You need to pass the microphone over to them and let them start talking. And when they start talking, they're going to tell you what's in their heart and how they view money. Money is a tool. All right. We don't worship money, but it can help with all these different areas of building a more sustainable household. Emotional spending. Listen, some of you all, you have to be careful because some of you all have accumulated debt in a major form saying that I deserve this. I deserve this. So I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna buy me a $70,000 car. And that car payment is going to be $1,000 a month to sustain that. What does it say in Proverbs chapter 10, verse 2? The blessings or the barakahs of the Most High makes one rich, and he adds no sorrow with it. So don't say the Most High gave you that car, that $70,000 car, and it got repossessed 6 months from now. That wasn't the Most High that did that. It's the fact that you was operating in pride, saying, I deserve this. Listen, when you go to Proverbs chapter 27, verse 2, it said, better than another man speak well if you were not your own mouth, and a stranger are not your own lips. Listen, it's better that somebody else tell you you deserve it than you saying, I deserve this. You got to be careful with the emotional spending. That emotional spending will put you in financial quicksand. And it will have you to the point to where you're having these arguments with the person who you're trying to covenant with. Having arguments. And by then, you probably had already made the marriage agreement. You know, listen to somebody that told you that you had sex with her. That's your wife already. So now you're already in this relationship. And y'all got financial issues. Some of these brothers out here don't even want to work. Sisters, you got to look past that. You got to start asking questions. These brothers out here don't even want to work. Some of these brothers, they want to go ahead and get another wife and 2 wives And so they can sit back and have them bringing in the money, and they sit back talking about, I'm over here going through the scriptures. Sisters, y'all better start asking some questions. Brothers, y'all need to start asking questions too, because that can help you make an informed decision. All right. Another thing that we got to practice as two people become one, you got to practice a thing called delayed gratification. Delayed gratification, which means it is discipline. What does the Wisdom of Solomon talks about? The very beginning. Wisdom of Solomon 6:17, if you want to write the scripture down. Go to the book of Wisdom. Wisdom 6:17. All right, Wisdom 6:17. I'm getting close to being done. All right, Wisdom 6:17. For the very true beginning of her is the desire of discipline, and the care of discipline is love. So at the very true beginning of wisdom is discipline. You're gonna have to practice delayed gratification. That's another word for discipline. You can't be this emotional spender. You get caught up in your emotions. Oh, and you got Amazon packages popping up at your door every day. That can ruin your marriage. You over there secretly buying stuff and your husband don't even know about it. I know of a situation where a person was trying to pay down a person's debt and they just keep getting back in debt. Listen, you got to be careful about that. It's an unsatiable spirit. You got to check your spirit when you always got to use your money to buy things and you don't know how to save and put money to the side. What is your ideas on saving? Well, how do you look at money? This is the question that you got to ask the person who you're trying to get into covenant with and spend the rest of your life with. How do you view money? Do you look at it as do you think that money's evil? You think that money is a tool? Because people take 1 Timothy 6:10 for the love of money. It's the love of money. Money, they say money is evil. Money is a tool. It's paper. It's currency. It's supposed to flow, right? But people, how do your spouse look at money? Is it evil? Do you look at money as something that's supposed to be spent all the time as soon as you get it? Let's continue. So you got to have these conversations with this person. Don't be afraid. Sisters on the line, don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. You brothers on the line, don't be afraid to ask the hard questions about how they see money. Delayed gratifications. Listen, you got to have debt. You got to have discipline. I mean, not debt. And so another situation, if you are already in debt right now and you're single, you haven't made the decision to get into a marital situation yet, you have to hate being in debt. Where it says in Proverbs chapter 11 and verse 15, he that hateth suretyship is sure. You have to hate your situation. You got to hate being there, or else you're going to be comfortable with being in debt. You're going to be comfortable with being in a situation where you can't communicate with another man. Comfortable with Amazon packages popping up at your door and no one has any financial accountability. And then you wonder why y'all on the brink of getting divorced. Not because somebody cheated, because y'all broke every single month. Y'all don't have no money to show for what you're doing. Listen, write this down. I want to share with you one of the best financial secrets that I've come across, and it's not really a secret. But I come across it in a book called The Richest Man in Babylon, and other successful people I've been around. They would tell you, financial advisors, save 10% of what you bring in. If you're single right now, and I'm going to say this while we on Zoom, it's recorded. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I don't want nobody suing me tonight. But I'm here to tell you today, one of the greatest pieces of advice that was given to me was to pay yourself first. This is how you prepare your house. When you go to Proverbs chapter 27, verse 24, or 24 and 27, whichever one it is, all right, it talks about making your house, preparing your house. This is one of the ways why you're still single. To prepare your house is to pay yourself first. A part of everything that you earn is yours to keep. If you bring in $500 every paycheck, 50 of that should be put aside to savings and investment. This is what financial people will tell you. You bring in $1,000, you need to be paying yourself $100. Put it to the side, in the shoebox, in the savings account, wherever you want to put it at. Put it to the side and don't touch it. It's an emergency fund. 9 out of 10 of our people, men and women, don't have an emergency fund. Ask your husband, your future husband, how do you feel about an emergency fund? Do you think we should have one or not? What they say an emergency fund is 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. They talk about having money for a rainy day. Well, it's going to rain one of these days. Are you going to be prepared? This is what you need to talk to your future husband about, your future wife about. Do you believe that we should have money put to the side? If they talk about, nah, I don't really think that we need to be doing all that. We in the last days. We in the end times. He about to be coming back soon. We don't need to worry about all that. You got to be thinking about that. Listen, we don't know when he's coming back. We don't know the day or the hour. It said the Son of Man don't even know. So why are you sitting over here talking? We in the last days. We just don't need to. We just don't need to save up nothing. Is that a person you want to be in a relationship with? Is that a person you want to be in a covenant with? To a person that's just had this short, narrow-minded thinking? Let's continue. So, Proverbs chapter 22:7. The borrower servant to the lender. This is one thing you got to take into consideration. All right. There's a thing called good debt, there's a thing called bad debt. We gotta utilize the principles of wisdom to differentiate the two. Let's continue though. So now, Ecclesiasticus chapter 8-13. Let's go there. Ecclesiasticus chapter 8-13. I'm almost done. All right. You're gonna open it up. I should have had me a timer on. I probably over my time that I said I was gonna go. This is how it happens. I'm passionate about this because I want my brothers and sisters to walk in the ways of wisdom and to have wealth while they're here, and not sitting back here talking about we keeping laws, statutes, and commandments, and all of us are broke. I am subscribing to that. All right. Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and verse 13. Be not surety above thy power, for if thou be surety, take care to pay it. Don't borrow more money than what you're able to pay back. And listen, we have another financial principle that was given to Joseph in the script in the book of Genesis that saved the whole world. All right. If you're able to, he told them to put aside the fifth part. What's the fifth part? It's 20%. If you're able to put aside 20%, yes, we know it was food, grain, and wine. I understand. Now, people say, well, brother, you twisting the scripture around. It was the fifth part of the food and the corn and the grain and the wine. They put that aside and it saved them, and it helped them in the lean months. I understand that, but the principle is the same. Just like the temperate principle, paying yourself first. All right. Some people say putting 10% to the side for charitable causes and for ministry. Yes, we don't have to pay tithes over on this side for those that have that belief system. All right, but 10% is still, when you go to Leviticus, it said the 10th part is holy. The 10th part is kodesh unto the Most High. It's still so. Guess what? All right, it's up to you if you want to follow that or not. I'm not telling you have to, but I'm telling you the principle that was given to Joseph from the Most High is that fifth part, that 20%, that can help you out in your marriage. So guess what? I started saying at a certain point in time, I was able to put aside 20% to help me and my wife, to help us with our savings and our investments, to help us to prepare for the end times. That 20% can help us to buy more food, right? But then there was other times where I was like, I'm so much in debt, I'm gonna use this 20% to pay off my debt. And that's what I did. I used the 20% to pay off my credit. And now my student loan balance is zero. I told you it was almost $37,000. It's probably 40,000 after interest is paid, but I paid it all the way off by applying 20% or by applying the snowball effect. Some of y'all got problems listening to other people of other nationalities. All right, when it talks about the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. Or what does that have to do with you and your spouse? Do you have a problem listening to somebody that don't look like you? Do you have a problem with taking financial advice from someone that doesn't share your belief system? Or are you mature enough to take the meat and spit out the bones? So communication, we talked about that. We talked about, asking the hard questions. We talked about identifying where you are at. That's real. All right. What's your situation? Asking what's your background. How did you see your parents spend money? Because the way we spend our money, sometimes it has to deal with traumas. Yes, traumas and triggers. Going back to, because it's a psychology behind spending money. Yes, it's a psychology behind spending money. It sure is. You need to go back to your roots and deal with that. The reason why I spent money like I could spend today is going back tomorrow, because when I was 13 years old, I worked for a program where we were door to door. We was knocking on doors. I was walking up selling candy. All right. And they put me in front of the store and I made fast money through this program every single day. So listen, I could go buy me a pair of Air Force Ones because I'm going to get that back tomorrow. And I was in high school. I had 27 to 28 pair of Air Force Ones on the top of my closet, because I kept feeling like, oh yeah, I want to look fly for these young ladies at school every day. I want to look like I got it. And so I kept buying shoes over and over again with no accountability. So guess what? That translated to drugs. Now I ain't selling candy. I'm selling marijuana. I'm selling crack cocaine, right? I make the money. Oh, this fast money. I can get that back tomorrow. Let me go get fly for the night. Let me go buy me a velour outfit. Let me go get fresh tonight. because I get that back tomorrow. I go sell, make me a couple of licks, and that's right back to me. So that I had to bring that mindset. Working at this airport I was working at, making fast money every day, hand over fist, the rubber band money. That's been a part of my psychology of money. That's why I had to take that into my marriage. That's what was a part of my marriage. And my mother, I didn't really see how she was spending it, but she wasn't that financially astute. Because when stuff broke down at the house, sometimes it might be broke down for about 4 or 5 or 6 months. So I know that she wasn't doing the right thing with her money. And that's what I know scripture say, honor thy mother and thy father. I gotta keep it honest though. Some of us grew up in households where our parents were not financially astute to what's going on. And so that's the psychology. My psychology came in there. That came into my marriage. I could keep spending money. So I got my car dealership. I own me a used car dealership, and I got all these cars on my lot. I can go make this, I can go out and buy this because that's coming back. Look at my lot. I got 15 cars right now. That money coming back, I can go get fresh. So this is stuff that can creep on in into your marriage. But what happens when somebody don't buy a car from you in 2 or 3 weeks and you sitting on those cars? And now you got to pay curtailment because you've been using OPM, other people's money. And you're the middleman between the bank and the customer. And now you get into arguments with your wife now. This is after you got married. I know I'll be talking about courtship. This could be after you got married. The psychology of money. You bring that into your marriage. If y'all don't dare that at the beginning stages, that becomes a part of your marriage now. It's too late. Y'all made the covenant now. You can't get out of this. Psychology behind money. It's like I told you about seeing your bank balance. It's associated with your traumas. Your money, the way you spend money, it's associated with what you've been raised at. Some of us, we come into this marriage because individuals told us that you wasn't going to amount to nothing. They told you wasn't going to be nothing. So guess what? I got to prove to these people that I am something. So I need to go buy the best garments. I need to go buy the best suits. I need to go make sure that my shoes are Gucci. I need to make sure that my shoes are $500 or $600. I need to go buy me some Gators because I need to prove the individual. Because guess what? I'm overcoming the inferiority complex of my youth. And in my youth, I had so many people laughing at me. They was making jokes at me because I had holes in my clothes. I was tired of people. So guess what? I had to become this person. Becoming that person could put you in debt. Becoming that person where you want to say, I deserve all this, it can make you lose your marriage. You got to check that pride at the door. Women and men. All right. I was at a situation talking to a person. They went out and bought a very expensive vehicle. Talking about I deserve this. That vehicle was about $60,000. And now the payments is about $900 to $1,000 a month on that thing. They said that I deserve. Financial psychology of spending. So you got to ask the questions. What kind of financial habits did you see growing up? What kind of financial habits did you see operating in your household? A lot of our households, the man is not even present. A lot of our households, we just looking at our mother, the way she spent money. If the man is there, in some situations, the man taking the money, if he ain't serving the Most High, he out here messing with other women. He out here gambling it away. The rent money ain't due. So now the woman is in survival mode. The woman is in survival mode. Now she got to find a way to hide her money from her man. Now she got a separate savings account. And that's a whole nother situation that people talk about where they talk about about the money. They talk about her money in certain Christian circles. They say, well, her money is her money, and my money is her money, and her money is her money. That's not what scripture is that. Both of y'all monies are coming together. All right, let me finish this up. I got a alert. I got an alert that I went over my time. I went way over my time. All right, that's the problem with time management. Also, make sure you write that down. You want to make sure you manage your time. It can cost you. Your time is more valuable than your money. All right, you can get your money back. You can't get your time back. Let me finish this out real quick. I deserve this in an unsatiable spirit. So I'm gonna open this up real quickly. All right, I share what I need to share and get you some counsel. Find someone that's astute in financial matters. Sit down and talk to them, both you and the person who you're trying to enter into a covenant with. Go and meet up with someone. Listen, I had a woman come and pull me to the side, and she was like, "I'm this person I'm with. He don't want to get no counsel. You shouldn't be trying to marry that person in. Why in the world are you about to try to marry that person, and this person don't want no counsel from nobody?" But this is what happens, and it happens so many times. How many times have I heard that? from different women that coming to me. This person don't want nobody to talk to him. And you about to go get into a covenant with that person, and they don't want no counsel from no elders. They don't want no counsel. They don't want you to bring them around so that so the brothers that so-called ops and brothers that you say you close to, so that we can't observe this man and we can't see what type of spirit he got. And you about to go make a covenant with this person. Make sure what it said in Proverbs 10:20, the tongue of the just is as choice silver. That means go get counsel. The tongue of the just is as choice silver. Get counsel from someone that's just. Get counsel from someone that loves the Most High.